hope everybody is in touch with our Facebook group, our LinkedIn channels, YouTube. Lately, we have been posting a lot of videos related to company formations, banking in UAE, seeing a lot of new projects coming up, which are connecting the overall region as one, like a new European Union. We have Etihad Rail project, which is almost completed and which is connecting a lot of GCC regions. We have seen Qatar coming up with new free zones. We have seen Saudi launching new ways of bringing new citizens to their country. So a lot of things happening in the GCC region overall, not just the UAE. So our scope in terms of business setup for the companies who are coming in UAE should not be only UAE, but more of GCC. So first, a little bit about the agenda, what all we'll be discussing and putting questions on the upfront. Why choose UAE for your business setup? First of all, the most important thing for UAE or Dubai as well is the strategic location. So being UAE as the logistic hub for the region, and it demographically in between the different countries, it is strategically the best location for the companies to form their business. Types of business entities. If you're looking for a long-term aspect and you're looking for a big setup with a big office and many employees, then you should go for a mainland setup. Coming to the commercial licenses, there are different types through which you can form a mainland company. The first is you can form a mainland company as a sole proprietorship, which means you'll be the 100% owner of the company. Coming to the second option, you can form a civil company, which is an extension of a sole company only. But in that one, as an expat, you can have 2 shareholders. Now, the third way you can form your company is a limited liability company, which is under the scope of commercial license, a trade license, a trade product. So all the products like electronic tradings, food products trading comes under commercial license. Free zone company, as we all are aware about, it's more of marketed that it is 100% owned by an expat. So yes, you can form any type of company with any activity without any local sponsor, which in mainland case, in some of the activities, it's mandatory, as I mentioned, but in free zone, all the activities, all the legal types are free from local sponsor. We have free zones, the most known free zones as Sharjah Media City, which is Shams. We have Sharjah Publishing City from Sharjah as well. Then we have from Dubai, Midan and Ifza. So these and DMCC. So these are a few of the free zones, which are the most known free zones.
Thank you very much for your information. What I'm looking at is just simply setting up a very basic consultancy company as a service provider within retail. What would be the recommendation, to go free zone or on land? Because I'm looking at providing services to retail departments, retail companies throughout UAE.
Throughout UAE. Okay, David, I'll answer that just a second. So if you are going to form a normal company, as you mentioned, in which you will be catering to the retailers of UAE, then you can form an e-commerce company or a retail sale or trade company in which you are just trading your goods to the suppliers inside UAE. Or if you are in completely wholesale business in which you are doing a bulk orders, then there is a specific activity called wholesale trade of products outside the scope of free zone. So these are the 3 activities which you can choose of, either an e-commerce if you are going to sell online as well, retail trade if you're just going to sell as a retail purpose to the vendors, wholesale if you are going to do bulk selling. Offshore company is by far the cheapest type of formation in UAE, but it's actually not a company. So I'll come to every point one by one now. So first of all, what is the definition of an offshore company? An offshore company is actually not allowed to do any kind of business. It can be only a representative or an extension of your back office as a customer service in UAE. So the main benefits of the offshore company. Popular offshore jurisdictions in the UAE are Ajman Free Zone. Ajman Free Zone offers an offshore company formation. Then we have RAKES, which is RAK ICC, not RAKES Free Zone. RAK ICC is one of the government arms which forms an offshore company as well, which is well known as well. The third is, and the most prominent one is Jabal Ali Free Zone, which is well known by the banks as well. If Dangad is forming your company, then in the memorandum of association, the Dhangard name will also come as a registered agent for forming an offshore company, which remains very important, because when you will go for any banking services, or you're going to your home country or any other country to showcase your licenses, your corporate service provider, which is your registered agent on the license, will always be there. So before forming an offshore company, you should make sure that the corporate service provider, which is acting as your agent, has completely right reputation in the market. He's not having any issues across the world, because it will affect you, because ultimately he is your agent and he is there on your documents as a CSP. Moving on next to legal and regulatory environment. We have defined many times on our website. We'll be sharing the links after the webinar related to the commercial laws, in which it is important then you should understand that there are different laws related to the pricing structure, investing structure, dealing with different companies, dealing with the companies related to the vendors, or whether it's your buyers in terms of the tainted or any issues related to their banking. You should be well aware about the commercial laws.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Bit of a contradiction there just now, because you're saying in some cases we need to provide or have a location. In other cases, no need for a location. So what do we need?
Okay. Actually, a very good point. As I mentioned, related to the sponsors as well, in some of the cases where the businesses are sensitive, the government is mandating in the mainland as well to have a proper office where they can do an inspection as well. Like if I speak about our business, one of our businesses is business center, a co-working space. So if we have to start a co-working space, then we should have a proper place where there will be inspection from land department and Dubai municipality as well, to make sure that there is a business center in place. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. But again, I'm looking at a single person consultancy, so no staff, no people. And then sometimes I get an issue that I need to have an office, and others say I don't need to have an office. So I'm just very confused.
Yeah, for the consultancy or any normal kind of businesses which does not require, like I mentioned, it's very clear that any on-ground business which might require certain authority approvals, only in that case, and that too in mainland case only, you require office space. In terms of free zone, which like you want to form the activity in terms of free zone, you don't need the location or an office space. Okay, I can see few questions in the chat box as well. So Andrea is asking, do I have to live in Dubai to open a business there for education consultancy? Okay, so Andrea, you don't need to live in UAE at all. Whether you form a free zone company or you form a mainland company, you can stay in your home country and operate as a remote business in UAE. So you don't need to stay here. The only thing is, if you are going to take a visa in UAE as well, which is a resident visa, then you need to visit UAE once in a year. So every 1 year you need to come once. This is for the investors. If you are giving visa to your employees as well, they can also work remotely, but they have to visit UAE every 6 months. Second question I have from Isru. If I'm to import physical gold and hold inventory to sell in UAE or purchase goods from UAE for resale purpose, what would be the most appropriate business type? The license should I get? Okay, Isru, if you are going to import physical goods and hold inventory sell in UAE, that depends what kind of inventory you are holding. Because in that case, we have to choose for you the right free zone, which offers a warehouse or a physical space storage, or otherwise we have to go for mainland, in which you have the open field to choose any kind of office or any kind of warehouse to keep your inventory. So you have to mention precisely what are your goods which you want to store. But yeah, it's possible. The license type is not an issue, but the jurisdiction is something which has to be discussed, whether the right choice would be free zone or mainland.
Okay, actually we have some agent in UAE right now. So, so we want open the money service business account in UAE market, but we can't do it because we have not registered in UK, UAE. That's why we want to UAE, and also, for example, small company, and we will take care of our agent also under this company.
Okay, so of course, as I mentioned, the free zone company will be the right for you, and related to what exactly your vendor is providing service, or you are into the overall business scope, we can suggest you the right activity related to it. But for sure, we need to go as a free zone company, because the main important point for you is to open a bank account and to work with your vendors and move out the funds. So yes, free zone is the way, and we'll guide you the right activity after the webinar. Banking and financial services. So as Dhanguard, we have a long scope in terms of banking services, in which we provide all kind of financial services related to opening of bank accounts, loans, working capitals, compliance services, mortgages, everything related to banking. Okay. In the meantime, I have a question from, if you want to set up a travel company on my name, what does require as tax and fees, annual fees, and what will be my authority? So if you are trying to form a travel company, you can form, we can form the company again in free zone if you are not going to have a big setup. As I mentioned, the main big difference between a mainland and free zone in that scope is that if you're going to have many employees in your company and you are going to have a proper office, then we have to form in mainland. But if your travel company is supposed to be remotely operated with 1 or 2 shareholders but not much employees, then we will go for a free zone company. It does not require any kind of approval. In free zone, it does not require any kind of office. And as you have mentioned, related to tax, if you are going to sell anything inside UAE, then you have to take tax, which is 5% VAT from your clients. If you are selling outside UAE, then you are out of scope from the VAT.
Thank you very much. Very informative and very helpful. Really appreciate your time and your effort, and well presented webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. I will in the chat box, I'll put our social media links as well. So you can just follow us for more updates, post your queries. And I would request all our participants to give feedback